Hey there, my Tyler Perry fans. This your girl Barbie J here, and we are talking about his comedy drama Sistas, season 5, episode 20, What Goes Around. Okay, y'all. Y'all pray for me to get through this video. Right before this show started, I lost one of my good friends, a real good friend. And she was older. She was like a second mother to me, but she said she was more like an auntie. And I just found out that she passed away, and I'm like really going through it, but I want to get this done because this will probably be the last video for a couple of days for me. So just pray for me. All right. So this episode starts off with Sabrina and Danny and Q, and they're together, and Sabrina tells him, "Oh my God, that's him, that's him." And she's like, "Who? What?" And she's like, she's like, "Did y'all sleep together?" "No, we didn't sleep together." She said, "He sleeps with Maurice." And she's like, "What?" "I sleep with somebody who sleeps with Maurice." And then she tells him he's the one who caused us all the drama. He's the one who robbed the bank. He's the one who had me put in jail saying that I did it. And Danny's like, what, and all of this stuff. But to me, they let him off too easily, because all she cared, the major thing that Danny cared about is the fact that she slept with a man who sleeps with Maurice, and she's like, oh no, oh no. So he's like, he goes in there, she tells him to go in the bathroom, put his clothes on, and get the F out of her house and stuff. And they're rushing him and telling him to hurry up. And he finally, comes out of the bathroom, and then he's like, "So I'll see you at work." She's like, "You don't want to see me at all." She said, if you see me, you act like you don't know me." She was like, "Get out of my house." And then she wanted to fight him, and I don't know why Sabrina kept stopping her from wanting to slap him. He's like, a brother can't get some breakfast, and she tried to jump on him again, and Sabrina's pulling her back. I was like, "What you pulling her back? You don't want nobody stopping you when you went after his ass, So let her go after him." They let him go too easy and just walk out. That was ridiculous. That was totally ridiculous, if you ask me. But then when he's gone, Sabrina's asking Danny, "What's the problem? Why do you keep doing this?" And she's talking about her hot girl summer is all jacked up. She messed up again and all of this stuff. And she's like, "Why are you doing this? This is like the stuff you did in high school. In college. This was stuff you did in college. Why are you still doing it?" She said, "Well, I'm young and I'm single and life is short and all of this stuff." And she's like, "No, you need to." She said, "I'm telling the girls about this." She's like, "I don't need an intervention." She said, "You're right. You need more than that." And she said again that she's telling the girls, and Sabrina leaves. So now we have Andy coming into the office, and the receptionist is giving her the flowers, said the janitor gave it to him. "Why you didn't say these are from Parrish?" "The janitor told me to give them to you." She said, "Aren't they pretty? Aren't they lovely?" She said, "Yeah." And she said, "I know the lady who sells them out on the street." I'm like, why would you say that? That was so ghetto. So you let her know she got some flowers from this corner, the lady out on the corner, the little Asian woman or whoever, you know what I mean? It's like, what? That was so weird that they put that in. And then it got to Andy, I guess, because then Andy said, "Here, you know what? You can have them since you love them so much." She said, "Really?" And it looked like it's like 4 dozen roses. That's what it looked like, in different colors, pink, white, and yellow or something like that. Anyway, Andy goes into Robin's office and sits down, and he lets her know that he heard from her friend. She's like, "What friend?" And he's like, "The one I got the money from." And she said, "Okay." And she said he told her he wants more interest, that if Robin sends the money back today, he'll only charge him 10%. Then he told him that Gary called him and made him a better offer to rescind the money that he gave to Robin. So that's when Robin asked Andy, "Is she working with Gary?" And she's like, "Why would you ask me that?" And he was like, "Well, you're the one who gave me the guy's card. And the guy is telling me that Gary called him and stuff." So he's like, "Why would you do that? Why would you help me?" And she admitted that she was looking out for herself because she was up for partner, and that if Gary and Hayden moved forward with the takeover, she would lose her protection. And then she reminded him that she did tell him that Gary was ruthless. And he told her not to get, upset. It's just a question. And she was really getting a little upset about everything, even though she was saying she wasn't. But he said, you're a lawyer and you shouldn't be getting so sensitive with these questions. It's just a question. He said, now that you answered them, I don't believe that you did anything. He said, but I had to ask. And she let him know that it's because that she slept with him. She didn't want him to tell him anything that he was going to do or planning. And she's saying, you're my boss and I slept with you and I just want to be careful or cautious. That's how Andy put it. And she added, whatever he wants to do next, he has to do it on his own. And then she left. Now we have Calvin arriving at Sabrina's apartment, and she's all happy and giddy, and she's telling him that she's getting the money, that Bio's giving it to him. He's like, really? Oh, wow. Because she's like, guess what? And I said, wasn't she supposed to call him? She was supposed to call him and tell him as soon as she found out. But of course she didn't. She went out to breakfast and then went to Danny's house and did everything but call freaking Calvin, who's sitting there waiting. Anyway, so he's saying he's happy. She said, you don't look like you happy. You look like you mad. And I don't think Calvin's mad. I guess he's disappointed that he wasn't able to help him. And now that this guy, Bio, was able to help him, Sabrina's going to feel this. And Sabrina she going to feel this reason to want to see him, because when Bio said no before, Sabrina was like, deuces, be out. Now she's all happy and giddy and jumping around, and Calvin is realizing he couldn't do it, but this guy could. And, Sabrina's going to be down with Bio now. And he said, are you going to see him again? And Sabrina didn't want to admit it, but she admitted, yeah, because she likes him. And then at that moment, what's his name? Maurice calls. And they give him the good news over the phone. But to me, Maurice still is not as grateful as he should be. I don't know. He did say he was and everything, but he's still calling her biatches and all this stuff. And I think he needs to roll that back, and she needs to check it. I don't know why Sabrina doesn't check that. Whether you think that's the way he talks or not, he should not be talking that way to you. And then he was saying, Maurice on the phone, like, you got to hurry up, because I'm going to lose my virginity in here. And he's up here flirting with the guy in the next, I was going to say in the next phone booth, but it's not a phone booth, y'all, is it now? But at the phone next to his. What was funny is the fact that he said whatever Sabrina did for him, he was worth it. And he admitted, I know this was all my fault and everything, but I appreciate everything that all of y'all did to try to help me. So he did say that. Anyway, Sabrina asked Calvin, does he want to go with her to see Andy? And he's like, nah, you just go ahead and do that. I guess he didn't want to have to be there with the money transaction and Bio sitting there too. You know what I mean? That would be awkward. And so, he said, just let me know when you're at the prison or whatever, the jail, and getting him out. And I said, that works. And then he left with his head hanging low. I felt so bad for Calvin. Oh, wait. And she kissed him goodbye, but I forgot to say, she let him know that she let Calvin know that she saw Q. And he's like, you did? What did he do now? And then he wanted to know where she saw him. She said, it doesn't matter. She said, but we got to do something about it. And he was like, I agree. Sorry, I had forgotten that part. Anyway, so now Fatima comes into Andy's office, gives her coffee, and asking her, how she's doing. She looked a little stressed. And she said, no, I'm okay. I'll be fine. And so she asked Fatima, how was her night and stuff? Where did she end up going? And she said she went home. And she said, you did? She said, yeah, we had to have she asked, how did that go? And there's Andy asking all these questions. If you don't want to be in the middle of them, you shouldn't ask so many questions to get into their businesses. And they need to roll back and telling her too much anyway. Not that Fatima told much this time, but she did say they had to have a come to Jesus moment. And Andy said, you didn't send them to go home with the Lord now, did you? She's like, no. So then she asked her, how did her night go with Karen? And she said Karen apologized, and they were shocked. But Karen did say it already. She already apologized in front of Fatima. She said, I'm here to give you an apology, although I don't owe it, or something like that, or whatever. It was something. You remember, we all remember that scene. So Andy let her know that if there's anything she needs, she could come to her. She'll help her. So like I said, Andy's kind of like an advocate for their relationship. Her relationship with Zach to work. And then she said, speaking of, that the divorce paper. I mean, the divorce. Oh, the child support papers. I had the child support papers here, and she's looking at Fatima like Fatima encouraged him to do all of this stuff. And she said, no. She said, I told him I encouraged him to get it done, but the amounts that he wanted to give and everything is all on Zach. Zach did that. And Andy's like, really? She said, oh, okay. So I'm going to tell Karen that she should sign this. And Fatima's like, great. And at that moment, they could see through Andy's, her office has a glass, and they see Hayden with that girl Tamara, and she's talking to the receptionist. So I see Tyler Perry's giving the receptionist a little bit more lines to do. Remember when Fatima had that job? Fatima was the receptionist before, and she had certain lines. Now this girl is doing this, and Fatima's looking like, what is going on? And Andy was saying the same thing, and Fatima said she gonna go find out right now. And Andy said, before you go, call that number that I text you and tell them where to send the money, wire the money for Maurice's bail. And Fatima's like, text? What text? And then she goes, oh. So she's slipping at her job. She better stay focused. Andy said, you too busy having a come to Jesus moment. She's like, yeah, okay. So then Fatima calls Zach, and she's talking to him, telling him, Andy said that you were very generous and that she's going to have Karen sign the papers. And Zach is like, good, one down. And she's like, yeah, but you need to go and apologize to her because you were wrong. And he's like, what? And she said, yeah, you need to apologize. He said, she's not going to take my calls. She said, then go over there. He said, are you kidding? You want me to go over there so somebody could take a picture again and you could act like that? And she said, I trust you. And I said, you told him you trust him the last time before you went off about a damn picture. You told him you trust him that morning and you went off about a picture. And that's why Zach is like, are you for real? You want me to go over there? But it's funny how Fatima knows when somebody's wrong and to apologize, but she didn't apologize. She knew she was wrong. Karen confirmed what Zach said, and I'm staying on that about it if people are mad about it, but she still owed him an apology, and she should have said, I apologize. I got upset and heated, but Karen confirmed just what you said, and I'm sorry. Zach should have been sleeping in that bed with her that night. Anyway, so Zach said he would go because Fatima was like, I'm a woman, and I know that after you did that, I would have been thinking of all kind of ways to hurt you. And then Zach was like, she told him, if we're going to have a future together, you need to do this. So come and see me after you apologize. And Zach said, when you say things like that, that makes me think, because he was liking the part about if we're going to have a future together. But then to hear if he hurts her, she going to find all kind of ways to hurt him. It's ridiculous. I was like, for her to say that, I would be having some second thoughts about this engagement because look how easily she gets upset and walks out, doesn't want to talk and discuss things. I don't know. Anyway, so now we have Gary and Hayden. They're meeting in front of the reception desk. They're saying, oh, this is going to be good. You ready? I thought there was supposed to be these other guys, those other investors or somebody meeting also, but it's just those two. And Gary tells him that he had a conversation with the investment guy, as he called him, I guess the loan shark. But you know what? I was wrong. I thought it was Hayden who went and spoke to the brother, but now we're seeing that it's Gary who made this side deal with the, as he called it, the investment guy. I'm like, the loan shark, you mean? And so they're walking down the hall saying, this is going to be good. So they walk into Robin's office, and Hayden's all smug. He doesn't even speak. And, Gary comes in and he said, how can I help you? He's like, oh, he told him to have a seat. So Gary sits down while Hayden's standing there like he muscle and stuff. He a little punk. He know it. And Robin goes, Hayden. And he was like, you can sit down too. He said, oh, okay. And he's all, like he missed the big shot. And they said, how are you? And Robin said, I'm good. He said, oh, you good? Gary's like shocked. Are you good? And he's like, yeah. And so Robin goes, what's going on? And Hayden starts to answer. And then Gary's like, no, I got this. So now Gary's telling him that the partners, these guys or whatever, whoever's Hayden's clients decided to raise something by $20 million or something like that. They did a 20%. So they raised it by $10 million. They put in an extra 20%, which was $10 million. And Robin's like, excuse me? And then Hayden chimes in, that means you have to come up with an additional $3 million. But to me, if you make a deal and you say something has to be raised and then people raise it and get the money in, how do you all of a sudden change the deal now because he got the money? It's like, how does that work? That wasn't making sense to me. Somebody put it down in the comment section if you understand how you could switch stuff in the middle after y'all already decided something, you know? So when Hayden says you need the additional 3 million, Robin said, I see it. And Hayden's like, oh, we know you do. I was like, they are such idiots. And Gary sitting there patting his legs like, oh, well, like, you're done now. So Gary goes, are you prepared to do that today? And Robin's like, well, I got to do it today. And they saying, it says that the money needs to be due on the day of whatever, the day of agreement or something like that. He said, well, did y'all read the contract? He said, oh, yeah, we read it. He said, paragraph 3 says within a reasonable amount of time. And they're like, Hayden, oh, yeah, reasonable amount of time. And he's trying to get all crazy. And they're like, look, we know you don't have the money and can't raise it. What would you call as a reasonable amount of time? And Robin said, how about 30 days? And I laughed. I said, that is a reasonable amount of time to raise $3 million. It is. You changed the deal. You changed the specifics of the contract at the last minute, the day of your meeting. You can't expect somebody to have the money right then and there. So Robin's like, yeah, 30 days. And they're like, no. Why you prolonging it? And I wish he would have prolonged it because anything could happen. And that would drive them freaking crazy. But Robin was like, nah, that's okay. I don't need 30 days. He said, you want the 3 million? How about if I give it to you by 5 p.m.? They was like, 5 o'clock. He said, yeah, they are super shocked. You should see their faces are like, whoa, what? Like Danny was when she realized she slept with Q, who slept with Maurice. Whoa, what? Or did they turn into Lil Wayne going, what? So Robin gets to say, is that a reasonable enough time for you? And they're like, oh, snap. So he said, so y'all can get out of my office and I'll see you then at 5 o'clock. And they're like, yeah, okay, all right, bye. So Fatima asks this receptionist, where's Tamara? She goes in that break room and says she's up there filling out an application for a secretary. He wants her to work up in there. And Fatima said, girl, you know that ain't happening. You can't work up in here. She said, I know, but he trying to get me a job here. And she's like, no, you can't work here. You have to do something. Rip that up. She said, and get with the program. Is he seeing that girl, Heather? Yeah, I think in an hour. Okay, I know what to do. I got you, girl. She doing all of that. And Fatima's like, good. The receptionist come and get her. Tell her Sabrina's there waiting to see Andy. And then Fatima leaves out. And that girl says to herself, I'm going to get this damn job. I'm going to get all his freaking money. I'm filling out this application. I said, oh, see, she messing around with, she messing up now. Tamara messing up. We all knew she was going to mess up, but you don't mess up with Madam. You going to mess up and get yourself killed up in here. She trying to get money and being greedy. You could get a secretary job somewhere else. It don't have to be in the same building with him. That makes it very difficult. So Fatima takes Sabrina to see Andy. They sit down. She lets her know that they're letting Maurice out and that she could go down there and pick him up. And she said, I just was checking. I wanted to know how you were doing. And Sabrina said, it's not me who needs to be checked on. She's like, who? She says, Danny. She's like, what does she do now? She slept with Q. What? So she let her know that she slept with Q and she told her that we need to talk about it and that they were going to all talk. So they said they would meet afterwards. Then Andy added that it reminds her of college. So something must have happened with Danny with men in college. Then Andy asks her, how did this man give her all this money? And, she was like, what are you saying? She said, that's a lot of money to give somebody, for him to give you for somebody else. And she's right. She's absolutely right about it. And Sabrina's like, Well, Andy, what do you mean? I mean, Gary buys you condos and Rolls Royce and buys you things. And I'm like, that's different. She's dating Gary, and she's been dating Gary for a while now. You're not dating Bio, and you just met Bio maybe a month ago. So she has a point. But Andy was saying, that's not what I mean. It's just like he really would have to really like you to do that. She said, I guess he does. And I'm like, her little big eyes and stuff. And she's like, well, I hope Maurice does the right thing. Oh, he will. He will. You don't know that about Maurice. Sabrina keeps saying that. And I know that's why something's going to happen, because Tyler Perry has her to keep saying that. So now we're at the salon, and Karen is perming somebody's hair. Do y'all see that fake perm wig? That wig with the perm. That perm is going on and the hair is still knotty in the top. I was like, usually you lay that perm, that stuff when it gets flat in the middle, it's still puffy with the white perm stuff on it. And I'm cracking up. And Karen and Pam are talking. And then who comes in but Aaron? He got food for her. He got containers of food and then goes, oh, I forgot the spoons. Let me go get the spoons. I said, that don't look like no damn soup. That look like you need forks, not spoons. But then he's telling her, she said, I got other clients waiting. He said, well, they're going to have to wait till you eat, and then you could get to them. You're coming in the back. I said, look at him getting all forceful and stuff. But Karen didn't look like she was so happy when, Pam was like, I like him. I need me somebody like that to bring me food. And it's just Karen's expression didn't look all that. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but I don't know. Something was like, whatever, I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much out of it, but there was something about her expression looked like she was like, oh, hey, when she saw him, it wasn't like she was thrilled to see him or something. I don't know. Anyway, it ends with Zach answering his door. And it's this guy named Joey. And Zach is like, who are you? And he was like, the guy asked Zach first, who is he? He said, I'm the man who owned this house. You rang my damn bell. Who are you? And he's like, no, it don't matter. He said, no, it does matter, because you came and asked about Fatima. Well, does she live here? He said, it depends. What is it? And he goes, I'm her baby's father. I said, what? And Zach was like, whoa, 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 what? I said, oh, he doing Little Wayne too. What? And so it went off like that. So y'all let me know down in the comment section how y'all feel about this episode. And for those of you who haven't subscribed to my channel, please take a moment now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell. It'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Then hit the thumbs up button, like button, write a comment, and share. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.